All right, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Let me move this camera here a little bit on my laptop here. Um, Want to make us a quick video here, just talking about the reaction to the AFC Championship game. So, Kansas City Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl after a 38-24 win over the Bills. Um, a result that I saw coming a mile away. And you're like, oh, you're just saying that. Well, I have proof of it. So those of you who or my friends who know me or follow me on friends and stuff on Facebook, I actually predicted the final score 38-24. Now, I will admit I didn't see the Bills getting to their 30 or to their 24 points the way they did, but I'll still take it. Um, and I thought I was pretty confident in this game. Actually, I was worried more about the Browns game last week than I was about this game against the Bills. Maybe it's because there's something about teams that are just kind of not down, but like scrappy teams. I look back at like the Astros in 2015 when the Royals beat them, and that's what the Browns reminded me of. They reminded me of a team that's probably going to be around for a while, especially with their playmakers they have and their quarterback. And I'm not saying that the Bills aren't going to be. I think the Bills will be too. But the one thing about this game, that I saw coming was how um, was how dominant the Chiefs were on both sides of the ball. And now I did 10 simulations today in Madden 21. Now, we all know Madden 21 is not a real NFL simulator. I mean, you can you can pay for those services through various places that you can do like sports gambling and whatnot, and they've got guys running simulations here, there, and everywhere, and to tell you kind of show where things kind of fall out, and especially when you're looking at making bets on the money line and whether to take the points or whatever, and over under and all that good stuff. So, but so I made sure the rosters were completely updated, make sure that um, like Damian Williams wasn't playing in the game or anything like that. Now Le'Veon Bell played in the game, but um, I tried to force it to where they played Daryl Williams more, or Edwards-Helaire. At the end of the day, none of these simulations, the running game didn't really factor into any of them. Um, Anyway, so I ran a simulation 10 times. So I just went to exhibition mode, picked the Chiefs and the Bills, and make sure the rosters were exactly the way they needed to be for the most part. I mean, a couple minor things here and there, but for the most part, everything was the same. And I did 10 simulations and recorded the stats. And what I found was the Chiefs won 9 of the 10 times. Honestly, I thought it would be closer. I thought it would be maybe 6-4 or 7-3. Um, but the Chiefs won 9 of 10. And the one game they didn't win was a game where the Bills scored 6 times and they won 28-26. They went for two-point conversions in the game, and I didn't understand that, but it is what, and they missed them both. And but what I kept seeing was a trend in this. Now, granted, still video game, not real life, but the trend I kept seeing was that except for the game the Chiefs lost, which they trailed the entire time, the the Chiefs had big leads on the Bills the entire game and almost all of the games except one. There was one game the Chiefs came back and won in the fourth quarter. They scored 3 touchdowns to tie the game and won in overtime. But all the other games, the Chiefs had fairly large leads. We're talking about large leads. I'm talking about 2 touchdowns or more. Um, and the Bills came back and got some garbage time touchdowns and garbage yards, and to make them look a little closer. There was one game that was 40-3 early in the fourth quarter, and the Bills came back and scored 3 touchdowns to make it a 17 or a 16. I think it was a 17 because it was 40-23 at the final score. They missed an extra point again. I don't know what's the deal with missing extra points in this game. Um, but in four of those eight, taking out the comeback win for the Chiefs and the game they lost. So in half of those games, the Bills scored a touchdown as time expired to pull closer. So really, the games were a lot. So the average margin of victory, it was 34-22. So it was an average margin of 12 points, and that's with all the garbage points. So I was sitting there thinking, I was like, the, based on what I've seen in these simulations I've watched, now granted, again, Madden football, not real life. But even looking at all the stuff in real life and breaking down some numbers and looking at stuff. And again, I'm not a professional NFL analyst or anything. Um, I was thinking the Chiefs were 2 touchdowns better, and I was like, "You know what? It's gonna happen," and so I'm thinking, "What's kind of a likely score?" And I was like, 38-24 sounds good." And then when I was ready to make my official prediction earlier today, it was like halfway through the Packers and Buccaneers game. I almost put down 38-17, and then I thought back to the simulation I did earlier today, and I thought, "You know what? I saw this time and time again." I said, "I really think 38-17 is probably a closer game, closer to what it's gonna be, probably 3 touchdowns," but I thought the Bills would probably get a garbage touchdown, make it look a little closer. Now, and and that's kind of what happened. Now, they didn't get a garbage touchdown from at 38-17. It was, what was it? 38-16? Is that what it was? 38-16? 38-15? 38-15, wasn't it? I can't, whatever the score was. Um, yeah, because they got to 21 and then they kicked a field goal. So they didn't exactly get to 24 the way I thought they would, like 3 touchdowns and a field goal. They had, what was it, 4 field goals, 2 touchdowns, and a missed extra point, a failed 2-point conversion. It was just so bizarre. Yeah, because they had 4 field goals and they had 2 touchdowns they didn't where they were 6 points exactly. Um, so that's 12 and 12. There's your 24. So now the funny thing is that at halftime, and my son said, do you think your prediction's gonna hold?" And I said, "Well," I said, "It'll probably be close." Because it was, what was it? It was 21-12 then, and I said if they repeat their first half performances, it'll be 42 to 42-24. And he says, "Well, that'd be pretty close. You'll get the bill score right." And I kid you not, I actually said to him, I said, "Well, I guarantee you the Bills aren't going to get 24 points because, I mean, they have 12 points right now. I mean, yeah, you just double that, they get there." I said, "But are they really going to, kick 2 field goals and then, or what did I say? Kick 2 field goals and then, and I'm like, or score a touchdown?" And oh no, I said, Elijah, my son said, he says, "Well, maybe they'll kick 4 field goals." And I said, "They're not kicking 4 field goals." I said, "No, I guess the way this game's going, maybe they kick 2 field goals and they score a touchdown and they go for 2 and miss it." I said, "I could get to it that way." So that was kind of funny. Um, but anyway, this game was, yeah, it started out a little crazy. If you look back at the game, though, the Chiefs stopped themselves on that first drive when Tyreek dropped that pass that would have been a 40-yard complete. Probably would have gone further than that. Um, and obviously the Chiefs punted. That's the only time they punted this entire postseason so far. Um, just think about that for a minute. It's the only time they punted in the postseason so far, and I don't think other than the Super Bowl last year, I don't think they punted in the Texans or the Titans game either. I can't. I'll have to go back and look, but um, hang on one second. Oh, sorry, sneeze there. Let's see how that edit worked there. If it actually paused it or not. But yeah, so I was the game got was a little hairy at first, especially with the McCole Hardman fumble. Um, but then I remember, my son looked at me and he's like, "Why do the Chiefs always start out playoff games like this?" And I'm like, "Well, they didn't start last week out like this. They started out really well." And of course, Twitter was melting down. People on Facebook were, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I'm like, guys, this it's like 5 minutes gone in the first quarter. Did we not learn anything last year? Do we not do you not remember who your quarterback is? And of course, the Chiefs march right down, get a touchdown, get another stop, march right back down, touchdown, another stop, march right down to get another touchdown. I mean, Josh Allen, he did exactly what I thought he would do tonight. I know the Chiefs blitz a lot. And Steve Spagnuolo is incredibly aggressive on his blitzing. And Josh Allen, as I said, I don't know if I said it in my YouTube video, but I know I posted it on Facebook last week. I said Josh Allen holds the ball way too long, and he took 2 absolutely horrendous sacks tonight. One he lost, what was it, 16 yards, and the other one was a 25, 30-yard sack. The play where all the the hoorah rah, all the personal fouls occurred. which I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Um, yeah, he takes some really bad sacks because he holds the ball looking for the perfect opportunity, to complete a pass. And a couple times he held on the ball much longer than I thought, a quarterback should, and he completed a pass for a first down a couple different times. But by and large, the Chiefs secondary was all over those receivers. And I've seen some crying on Twitter and Facebook. Well, not so much on Facebook, 'cause Facebook is just people I know, but I've seen a lot of crying on Twitter of fans talking about how the refs were in it for the Chiefs, um, and that they didn't call pass interference, on Chiefs defensive backs on Stephon Diggs, or was it John Brown, or I think it's, I don't know, just Brian with Brown's his last name, their number two wide receiver. Look, I mean, I saw the same game you guys saw. We all saw the same game. Unless you have a different camera angle and you're constantly, seeing everything that's going on in the secondary, which they don't show the secondary on the camera angle that they show the television audience. I don't think there's a lot we can really talk about in that term. So, um, look, the Chiefs came out and they punched the Bills in the mouth. The Bills. It was kind of like a fight, a boxing match where the challenger comes up and they get some good shots in. Think back to the first fight, Rocky and Clubber Lang, Rocky 3. Rocky's pissed off, Mickey's dying, and he comes out and he hits Lang with some good shots at first. The champ gets his licks in, and then Clubber Lang just unloads on him. Now, of course, Clubber Lang ended up losing the last bout in the movie. Obviously, Rocky had to come back, but that's gonna reminded me of a young and a challenging boxer, or somebody in MMA. I don't watch MMA, but who they come in and they get some shots in, and they get people talking like, "Oh wow, they're hanging in with there," and then the champ comes back and just annihilates them. And that's what happened in this game. The Chiefs just annihilated the Bills. They completely humiliated them, and you could see, and that's true because the Bills melted down. So let's talk about that meltdown. Look, um in the heat of the moment, people can make stupid decisions, and they can do things that they're going to regret. I think that I lost a lot of respect for Josh Allen. He took a horrible sack, and speaking of which, the referee, why did they not blow their whistle sooner? They didn't blow the whistle until they were in the process of tackling him. I mean, he was arm barring the guy. He couldn't throw the ball. He was already in the grass. He was going backwards. I mean, for the Bills' sake, they should have blown the flag or blown the whistle before they threw the flag later. When obviously they had maybe that wouldn't have escalated the way it did. So I think the refs could have stopped that play sooner, but they didn't. And he goes down, and while he's on the ground, he takes the ball and he fires it at the helmet of Passanio. I think that was who it was. Well, you can't do that, okay? I mean, Damian Williams scored a touchdown against the Titans last year in the AFC Championship game and came right back and like spun the ball or whatever, like placed it right back to the guy that he trucked or whatever to get in the end zone. And the guy took exception to that, and Damian Williams was rightfully flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. I mean, touchdown was still good, but I mean, uh, you know, you can't do that. You've got to rise above it. And if you're the quarterback, Josh Allen, you have to have more composure than that. I know the game didn't go the way you wanted to the entire night. You thought you were a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Well, at least everybody told you that this whole week, especially Bills fans and probably more than half of the national media. There's plenty of people, obviously, that picked the Chiefs to win. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everyone picked against the Chiefs, but there was a lot of people out there. ESPN, this morning. They now I don't get ESPN. I don't watch anymore, but I saw the graphic that said, tail of the tape. that 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 Mahomes is not as good as quarterback um, as Josh Allen. Like, that is preposterous. Do you want to know what the definition of the best quarterback is? If Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers are going to Super Bowl. That's why he should be the MVP. He is the best quarterback in the NFL right now, and it's not even close. If you want to sit here and you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers being the best quarterback in the NFL, or Josh Allen, or Tom Brady, look, I'll listen to your argument and I'll come right back and say no, because I watch Patrick Mahomes play, and there is something that's inside of him that transcends the numbers. Now, his numbers are phenomenal, okay? His numbers are right up there anyway. It's not like he's putting up Alex Smith numbers. No, and we love Alex Smith here in Kansas City, okay? So no disrespect to Alex Smith, but it's not like he's putting up Alex Smith numbers when he was played with the Chiefs, and then they're still winning these games or whatever. Um, he's got the talent, the bravado, and he's just got this. It's like a sixth sense, and I can't even describe it. The guy is incredibly talented when he's composed. So anyway, so going back to that play, I did lose some respect for Josh Allen on that. You've got to stay more composed. You've got to keep yourself, drawn in. And the entire Bills team was getting incredibly chippy. Look, they were getting their butts kicked up and down the field, and you know what? Emotions got the better of them, and I'm sure that they're all good guys, um, but they're going to have to learn from this. And so something else, and I think the NFL should really take a look at this. And I know you can't stack penalties, okay? So if three personal fouls occur on one play for one team, they can't move them back 45 yards. Okay, two of them would be thrown out, and they would accept one. So that's why offsetting penalties occur like they do, because two of them, because however many were on the other team, they're going to have to be thrown out anyway. So that's why one and one offsets. I understand the rationale. I think when it comes to post possession personal fouls, like what happened today, I think the NFL should do a better job of penalizing the teams that are doing that. I mean, I guess they did throw a penalty on Passanio. I don't agree with that. Um, I guess because he stood over Josh Allen and uh, taunted him. I guess they didn't call him for taunting. They just said unsportsmanlike conduct. Um, I don't. I guess he didn't stood over at a time. He stood over him because the guy threw a ball in his face, and the refs called the penalty because of that. The first one they called it on Passanio. Then they called two more on the Bills. Really, the Allen and Passanant penalties should be the ones that offset, and then they should penalize the Bills for the other ones that came in even later. The one guy came flying in and sucker punched one of our players. Was it Passanant? And I don't know what the third one was. There was another one, I guess, that happened in front of another ref. Look, I you can't do that, and it's it's just dirty. Just take your loss, learn from it, and move on. If your quarterback is as good as you think he is, the Bills will be back, and you have to learn from it. Okay, the Chiefs learned from their loss in 2018 to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, a game that the Chiefs should have won. Matter of fact, this is a game the Chiefs had won if D Ford doesn't line up off sides on the what would have been the game sealing interception. Um, so we learned from that. Bills fans, you need to learn from this, and the Bills team needs to learn from this. Um, Josh Allen has to get more. He has to get quicker about throwing the ball. He can't hold the ball as long as he does. He takes way too long, way too long to get in there. Now he didn't look like the 2019 Josh Allen. Not the entire game. A couple plays he did, but he looked a lot better um, than he even did last week. But the Chiefs just bullied him the whole night long with blitzes, and Allen doesn't do well under pressure, as it showed tonight. A lot of a lot of the fans that I've seen, on talking on Twitter, and haven't seen anything on YouTube yet, but we'll see if things get posted later. They're talking about, well, our coaching let us down, the referees let us down. I saw one guy blaming this on COVID. I don't know. And then, of course, then the narrative that the NFL wants Patrick Mahomes to continue winning because it's good for the league. Come on, here, stop. Okay, the NFL is not a hard game. It's not a hard game to predict. You know why? Because the better quarterback usually wins. Now, you could make the case that Rodgers is a better quarterback than Brady, but still, Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. And I, so I can definitely say, the better quarterback won. even though Brady didn't play better than today. Sometimes the better quarterback doesn't win, but by and large in the playoffs, the better quarterback wins. That's why Patrick Mahomes won today. They couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes. They couldn't stop Tyreek Hill. They couldn't stop Travis Kelce. They couldn't stop McCole Hardman. Couldn't stop any of them. They couldn't stop the Chiefs' blitz. They constantly hurried them the entire night. It was, like I said, it was not as close as the 38-24 margin of victory, the 14 points. So Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. What do I think is going to happen? I don't know. The Chiefs suffered a pretty serious injury today towards the end of the game. Unfortunately, Eric Fisher looks like he blew his Achilles tendon, so looks like he's going to be out. I would imagine L'Jarius Sneed, who's going to be in concussion protocol. He didn't look too bad when he left the field, and he's talking post game. Again, we'll have to see what happens, but they have 2 weeks. I fully anticipate Sneed will play. I think the Chiefs will have most of their players back, probably ready to go. Obviously, they're going to have to figure out what to do at left tackle. Fisher, Pro Football Focus ratings, Fisher is not a very good offensive lineman. So I'm not saying that it's going to be addition by subtraction, by losing him, but it's you definitely don't want to lose your starting left tackle. But it, the Chiefs can work around that. Okay, next man up. That's how we look at this. Next man up is the Super Bowl. It's time to go. So, I I think the Chiefs are obviously going to repeat. I don't see them losing to Tom Brady and the Bucks. Yeah, it's going to be in Tampa, but it's not like Tampa's going to have their home fans there. The fans that are allowed in the game. I mean, it's going to be sparse. They're still doing the social distancing thing. Um, it's going to be split. Chiefs are going to have a lot of fans down there too. So, and the Chiefs already beat the Bucks in Tampa once this year. I, you know, Tampa they're a good team. You know, they got hot at the right time. They had to play all of their playoff games on the road, and they won all three of them. So when they get a home game for the Super Bowl, of course they're going to lose that one, right? Because they can only win on the road. So, but no. So seriously, I don't see the Chiefs losing to the Buccaneers. I think it's going to be a very similar game to this one. In terms of the final score, I think the game is a little closer, and I think the Chiefs score some points late and pull it away and probably win by 10 to 14 points. Probably similar to the game last year against the 49ers. It's like I don't think the Chiefs are going to be losing, like they were last year, but it was could look a little dicey with about 10 minutes to go in the game. We were all very nervous, but then we remembered we have Patrick Mahomes on our team. So I do think the Chiefs are going to beat the Bucks, and I'm going to do some more breakdown of that. Again, I'm not a professional analyst by any means, just a fan, but a fan who's watched many football games over the years, and like many of you probably, you know, you know what to look for, and I do think that the Chiefs are going to win. Um, 35-17 keeps sticking in my mind for some reason. Um, I you know I wanted the Chiefs to play the Packers just because I wanted the nostalgia there, but but other than that, I was kind of thinking I really kind of hope Buccaneers win because people say, "Oh, we would have beat the best. You want to win the Super Bowl when the other team's at their strength." I'm like, forget that. I want my team to, I want my team to win the Super Bowl against the number 5 seed in the NFC. I mean, seriously, I want an easier shot to win the title. Doesn't lessen the title by any means. I mean, the Bucks still got there. Okay, I mean, is anybody? Um, who's that? Who was that team that made the Final Four that one year? That was it like George Mason or something like that? And they had this incredible run, and and they end up losing in the Final Four. And people talk about, oh, whoever beat them. I remember people, oh, well, they only beat George Mason. I'm like, well, good for them. They faced a lesser team that just happened to get hot. Cinderella finally clock struck midnight. So um, I'm not worried about people talk about how the Chiefs and Mahomes. I saw this on Twitter right before I made this video. The Chiefs and Mahomes have never beaten Tom Brady in the playoffs. Okay, the Chiefs and Mahomes have only played Tom Brady once in the playoffs, and the Chiefs and Mahomes actually did beat Brady. It was Dee Ford lining up offside that literally cost the Chiefs the game. Now you can say, "Oh, well, you can't blame it on one play." I can. I can. If he lines up on the right side of the line, that play still happens. It's still an interception, and the Patriots still have no timeouts, and it's under 2 minutes to go. The Chiefs win the game. Eh, It's as simple as that. Okay. So Patrick Mahomes has actually done everything in his power to beat Tom Brady, and then of course in the next two matchups against Tom Brady, what did he do? He went out there in 2019 and beat Tom Brady when his last season with Patriots. He went out there this year against the Buccaneers and beat Tom Brady as he's playing for Tampa. So people say, "Oh, Mahomes can't beat Brady. He's got to beat Brady to move on." Mahomes has beaten Brady. Now he's lost to Brady too, but he's beaten Brady. He's 2-2 against Brady in his life. Um, it's not going to be as hard as people are making it out to be. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'll make some more as the week goes on and we go into next week. But it's gonna be a fun time. Chiefs are gonna repeat. I know it. That this team is better than they were last year. So thanks everybody for watching. Go Chiefs.